Hello. I hope you all enjoyed the blog. If you haven't had a chance to read it, make sure you go back and read it. This week we talked about prevailing, and I used a personal experience in my personal conversation with the Lord and how to actually prevail in different circumstances. The first thing to do is to remember that prevailing is more than just winning. That was the hardest lesson for me to learn in the beginning, because hey, you say I'm going to prevail, I just know that I'm going to win and it's going to be easy. Not so. Right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is to identify the opposing force and not the actual person in opposition, because a lot of times that opposition comes, but that force, it's a force that comes that causes us to feel in opposition and feel defeated. And so once we identify what that force is, the person of opposition becomes irrelevant, and we're able to move past that by number three, which is to change our thoughts and to change our perspective. And so once we do that and think according to the way the Lord wants us to think, we're actually growing in that situation, and we're actually proving more powerful, which is what prevailing is. Not necessarily just winning, it's proving more powerful than that opposing force. And once we understand that and change our thoughts and identify those forces, then we're able to trust God and his plan and know that in that situation, he really needed to change us before he could change the circumstance. That way we can totally receive what he's trying to get us to have, to get us to understand. And so prevailing is, again, more than just winning that situation. It is a whole process. And I am just full, because knowing that he sent that situation, even though I ain't like it at the time, was to get me to see him in a different light, to stop putting him in a box, because we can't put him in a box. He's so much bigger than that. He's bigger than that box. He's bigger than our thoughts. He's bigger than the ways that we have, right? And so when we trust in him, he allows us to see things and understand things in a deeper way that draws us closer to him and knowing more of him. And that's ultimately the goal, right? We want to know more of him, and as we look to him, the things that are going on around us begin to work for our good, not just in a materialistic way, but it changes us, it changes our circumstances. Sometimes it does bring those material things, but not always, because again, he's bigger than just that minute box that we try to put him in. He's greater than all of that, and our power that we get comes from him. So we have to stay plugged in to him in order to get that source of power and be able to prevail in these situations that he gives us. It's a cycle. Jump in, right? And don't stand off to the side. And so I'd like to leave you with a scripture from Philippians 2:13. He says, "For God is working in you, giving you the desire and the power to do what pleases him." That power that we're getting, it's not to be a dictator or to, boss people around. It's power in us to do what pleases him. What pleases him is humility. What pleases him is service of others. What pleases him is our love for him, that we do what he needs for us to do. What pleases him is us loving our neighbors, right? So knowing those things and knowing that he's working things out for our good, but he's working within us. What is it like to be a partner with him in getting to the next step? That's what it's all about. So I pray that as you learn through my hard lesson, which will now be an easy lesson, that you will have an easy lesson in prevailing in the things that come into your life, and that you will continue to trust in him and to give him glory, and that you will have a great week, and that you will prevail in every opposition that comes your way. I pray you are blessed.